Paul Gauguin's life was the stuff of romantic fiction, a tale as exotic and astonishing as his paintings. Born in France, he was raised in Peru. A sailor in his teens, a stockbroker in his 20s, by the age of 35, he was a married father of 4 and a collector of paintings. He bought works from Edouard Manet and the Impressionists Camille Pissarro and Edgar Degas. And then, a plot twist. In 1882, seized by the desire to create rather than collect art, he cast it all away. Rejecting the fetters of bourgeois society, he began a search for artistic purity that would last for the rest of his life. He scoured the most remote areas of France and its colonies for subjects, restlessly scraping away the veneer of civilization to search for deeper truths and redefine the course of painting. And he died in poverty, only to be widely recognized as a genius by later generations. But Gauguin was more than a character in his story. He was the creator of Paul Gauguin, the visionary artist and mythmaker. From the outset, Gauguin crafted persona after persona to shape the direction of his art and alter the trajectory of his career. He could be Gauguin the peasant, rejecting the excesses of capitalism. Gauguin the lost soul on a spiritual quest. Gauguin as Jean Valjean, the persecuted hero of Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. Denied recognition, he could shift his shape into Gauguin the martyr, suffering Christ-like in the Garden of Olives. And of course, the flip side, the evil Lucifer, a fallen angel turned devil's disciple. All of his guises contained an element of truth. But the most recurring of them was Gauguin the Savage, the embodiment of a primitive consciousness. His maternal grandmother, Flora Tristan, was an ardent socialist and feminist, whose uncle was the Spanish viceroy of Peru. The Gauguin family sailed for Peru when Paul was only a year old. His father died en route, but Paul, his mother and sister spent the next 5 years in Lima. Years later, back in Paris, he refashioned his dim childhood memories of an exotic country into a new persona. The land of the Incas inspired the very French Gauguin to claim outrageously Inca descent.
You know that by birth my background is Indian, Inca, and all that I do reflects this. It's the foundation of my personality.
When he took up pottery in Paris in 1886, Gauguin drew inspiration from ancient Peruvian pottery that his mother had collected. But his ceramics were rough and robust rather than refined. He occasionally insinuated them into his paintings, replacing the face of an ancient Peruvian with his own self-portrait. Critics were baffled.
I am seeking to set something more natural against corrupt civilization, with the primitive as my starting point.
It was a thread that wove its way through his life. Years later, he would write,
I am a savage, and civilized people suspect this. For in my works there is nothing so surprising and baffling as this savage in spite of myself aspect.
Gauguin's concept of the savage was drawn from the European idea of a noble savage, considered a paragon of natural virtue. In the 19th century, with industrialization in high gear, Gauguin and others held up the idea of the noble savage as a rebuke to the greed, corruption, and poverty rampant in modern society. He began to look away from Paris and search for a purer world. His search began on the windswept coast of Brittany.